How's it going, everybody? Free Your Mind here. Seattle Pride charges white people reparations fee while BIPOC attend for free. Yes, it's happening in Seattle. Of all places, who would have thought Seattle would have had reparation fees for white people only? Capitol Hill Pride took issue with the taking black pride fee structures and made a complaint to the City of Seattle Human Rights Commission. That complaint was denied. Of course it was. A new pride event is happening in Seattle this month, specifically for BIPOC people. Promotional material for the event called Taking Black Pride states that while the event will be free for people of color, white people will be charged $10 to $50 in reparation fees for something that never happened to these people of color. You were never a slave. The white people were never a slave owner. Quit crying about it. All are free to attend. However, this is a black and brown, queer, trans-centered, prioritized, valued event. The material reads, white allies and accomplices are welcome to attend, but will be charged $10 to $50 reparation fees that will be used to keep this event free of cost for black and brown, trans, and queer community. Now, if you don't see what's happening, this is critical theory practiced, not like taught like it is in schools, like the people that on Twitter are lying to you saying it's not being taught in schools. Then why do you care so much if it gets banned? You literally are screeching that it's getting banned. So somebody's lying, and it seems like the people yelling the loudest are usually the most guilty. But this is another teaching of this. A lot of the people that are pushing critical theory are white supremacists and racists. Robin DiAngelo, a author of critical race theory, specifically critical race theory, said she is a racist and is uncomfortable around black people. These people admit they're racists. This is just another ploy of separating and segregating people, doing exactly the opposite of what Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech was all about. Doing exactly and trying to undo that message and all that work that happened. They want to segregate people based on race. They want to treat people like shit based on race. Also, just a side note, if you are looking to play a video game or you're a gamer in general, the creator of Factorio game basically said this: take the cancel culture mentality and shove it up your ass. He didn't back down. And now, yeah. Factorio, 10 out of 10. It's a great game. Definitely recommend. I can't recommend it anymore now. That guy said, fuck you, cancel culture. And that's all. But again, another teaching of this critical theory BS. And people in the comments are going to be like, you define critical race theory. Well, you made it almost impossible to define it, and that was the intended purpose. So people like me can't really defend it to normies without having to jump through a bunch of hoops. It is not teaching history. It is teaching lies, teaching people to hate each other based on race. It is trying to segregate people based on race. Washington Post urges white people to feel shame to self-segregate into white accountability groups. That sounds like the Klan. That sounds like the KKK. Spit this article right in front of me right now. A suggestion for white people is to form groups only for white people to self-segregate into accountability groups. Do you want these white people to become white nationalists and hate people of color? Because this is how you do it. The Washington Post has begun a series called The New Normal. In 2020, on the latest episode, pundits and commentators urged white people to feel the sins of their ancestors. Again, they did nothing wrong. We can also point to black people feeling the sins of their ancestors when they sold their own people to the slave owners, or when they are holding slaves in Africa. Every single race in the entire world has been a slave owner and has been a slave. Every single race. Nicole Ellis, host for The New Normal, introduced the episode by saying that it is about white racial identity. She said the George Floyd's death marked the first time that white people were becoming aware of their whiteness and the systemic ways that white supremacy affects us all. Rashima Mikan, who offers courses in somatic abolitionism, starts off by saying that racialism, white body supremacy is not episodic, it is structural. Remember that there were thousands of George Floyds before the one that you say. Your bodily response to this horror, right, is not the same as you dealing with structural aspects of this. George Floyd was not killed by white supremacists. Just FYI. She turned to Rebecca Tobrick, who is a professor in the Department of Counseling at the San Francisco State University. Of course she hates people. Of course she hates people. She's a brainwashed lunatic. Tobrick said that white people in the particular get aroused, get upset, say this is unjust, that this isn't right, this shouldn't happen. There's like an awakening that happens. And so part of their racial identity development is seeing that awakening. What they do with it is really the next piece of it. What, segregate based on race? Ellis explained that understanding your whiteness is integral to becoming self-aware as a white person. But this program of understanding whiteness is not about self-discovery, but about internalizing the ideas about whiteness that are being peddled by anti-racist activists. Anti-racist activist is just a strong stretch for saying you are a racist. Anti-racism is racism. The video goes on to show interviews and clips with white people who are on the way to becoming self-aware as white people and internalizing those values of anti-racist practice. A woman from Oklahoma decries her hometown for having whiteness as the default. She says that she's really realizing how deeply rooted racism is into like her everyday thought process. No matter how much you work on that, there's still almost even more work to be done. Tobrick explains that exploring white racial identity is in fact a lifelong process. Part of the structure of racism is to keep us from recognizing that racism is part of our daily lives. So it's a longer term process of looking at your understanding of yourself and the world, both historically but also contextually. Also, the family you live in, the community you live in, and what role whiteness plays in that. So she's assuming that just based on someone's race that they are racist. She is assuming based on their race that they are in fact a racist. That sounds pretty racist to me. That's a pretty racist statement. A suggestion for white people is to form groups only for white people to self-segregate into accountability groups. Anti-racist culture does not exist among white people. White people need to start getting together specifically around race. He says that these whites only accountability groups should be done for a period of 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 years, so that you end up with a community that is aligned with each other. Did 911, did the Klan just speak? This lady is literally a white supremacist. She wants people to segregate based on race and only be in that community based on race. What? This just shows the anti-racist movement and the critical theory movement in practice and in the theory. These people that push this are either lying, misinformed, or are the actual white supremacists, if you're not paying attention. Holy shit. That sentence right there just says to me, I'm a white supremacist. I know what's best for black people. It's always these white liberals, man. It's always these white liberals saying that they know best for black people, that they know best for these communities. It's the white liberals that, throw up the red salute, or the, as you might know it, the Black Lives Matter fist, or the red salute, the communist salute. co-opted that movement, turned it into a communist Marxist movement. No lie, that's what the co-founders stated themselves as. So yes, it's a Marxist communist movement. It's not about black people. They go into black communities, burn them down for black people. And then you look at their neighborhoods aren't even touched. And then they suggest that white people segregate from black people. Do you see what's going on here? These people that push critical race theory, critical theory, are the white supremacists that are brainwashing the youth to become exactly like them, trying to push Jim Crow 2.0. If you're not paying attention, you're insane. Please, if you have a kid in elementary school, high school, college, middle school, any form of education, demand you know what they're fucking learning about, because you probably see that they're trying to teach them critical theory and turn them into what they are, a white supremacist. But that's going to be a video, guys. Let me know in the comment section below what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.